Coming up, I sand down the fiberglass around the hole, put in new core, glass it over, and apply Kiwi Grip. Make an ancient and disturbing discovery, and refinish a teak bulkhead. In the last video, we saw the poorly installed cabin heater chimney let in quite a bit of water. I've decided to nix the heater altogether and fill in the chimney hole. First step is to disconnect the propane fuel source. With that done, the heater can be removed. To reglass the area, the fiberglass skins on either side of the core must be sanded to a 12:1 bevel so that the new epoxy can have a good mechanical bond with the surface. Here I'm using a Dremel to sand the bevel on the interior side. A vacuum helps suck up some of the dust. I create a cardboard template for reglassing the exterior portion. Time to start sanding away. The outer fiberglass skin is 1/4 of an inch, which means I need to sand 3 inches around to achieve a 12:1 ratio. I use an oscillating multi-tool and lots of sandpaper. This takes nearly all day and is so noisy I wear earplugs. My marina neighbors must have loved me that day. Are we there yet? Not quite yet. I drill out the holes where the chimney was screwed into the cabin top because I will fill them with epoxy. After mixing the epoxy, the clock is ticking and you only have so much time until it begins to cure. The camera's battery died and I didn't have time to deal with it before sealing the screw holes. I cut a disc of balsa to use as the core meat in the fiberglass sandwich. Sandwich. Dry fit looks good. I apply plain epoxy to the wood of the surfaces that will mate. Then thickened epoxy is used as an adhesive paste. We'll let that cure for a few days. Time to cut and prepare the glass. Trying to stick as close as possible to the original layup schedule, I used 2 layers of 6-ounce cloth and 4 layers of 24-ounce cloth. The 4 layers are in increasing diameter from 3 inches to 9, arranged so that the largest will mate with the beveled surface. This size of glass repair is right on the edge of the maximum size recommended for this method of repair, and the reason is obvious when the epoxy begins to cure while I'm still wetting the glass. It's now a race against the clock. The glass patch is put into place and squeegeed to remove bubbles and excess epoxy. I'm using a nylon release fabric on top. I add a little extra epoxy and squeegee some more to minimize voids. The work is done in the evening after the day's cooling has begun to reduce bubble formation from heated gases escaping. After letting it cure for several days, the release fabric can be removed and the excess epoxy sanded away. Now the same thing is done for the interior side. The fiberglass skin is thinner on this side, so the patch is smaller. I use 2 layers of 24-ounce cloth. The epoxy is dabbed on using the tip of the brush to avoid disturbing the fibers in the cloth. The patch is put into place and I use a rag, cardboard block, and boat hook to keep pressure on it. Once it's cured, I apply a vinyl patch to cover the hole in the headliner. I may replace the headliner someday, but for now this will do. The outside patch is solid and strong, but is a little flat and doesn't match the surrounding curvature of the cabin top. I'm preparing a fairing compound from epoxy and milled glass fibers. Nice and thick. Most sources will recommend using other thickeners for fairing because epoxy with glass is difficult to sand, but I'd rather have the strength and don't mind the sanding too much. Matching the curvature in 2 axes is tricky. Able Seaman Bill has generously joined me to apply the Kiwi Grip non-skid, proving he's also an able handyman. We tape the area to be painted and sand the existing non-skid gel coat surface, taping before sanding to avoid damaging the adjacent smooth gel coat. Application can begin! Kiwi Grip is a thick acrylic paint that gets its texture from a special sponge roller. It's best done with 2 people, so that one person can apply and the other can remove the tape before the paint sets. We actually waited a smidge too long before starting to pull the tape, but it turned out okay.
I just received some pieces of teak dowel from Mary at the Atlas Dowel Company. This is what they look like. I'm going to use them to repair the teak bulkhead where the cabin heater used to be. Let's go do that.
Next up is filling in the holes in this teak bulkhead left from removing the cabin heater. You are not going to believe what I just found. So this has been up here for at least 3 years, maybe more.
There's some Spam and some Milky Ways. Who knows how they got up there?
These items are not mine, and were hidden treasure left by one of the previous owners. I cut the dowel to the right lengths and use an epoxy adhesive to seal them in place, taking care to try to match color and direction of grain as best as possible. I then use the power sander to sand the dowels flush with the surface. If I were to do it again, I'd hand sand because the power sander was a bit too much and left a couple gouges in the wood that are cosmetic blemishes. I'm going to refinish the entire surface to make it look uniform after the hole repairs. This involves sanding. And more sanding. And even more sanding. I use lacquer thinned with denatured alcohol, brushed down with a soft rag in many thin coats. This is how the original application process is described in the boat's user's manual, and I'm hoping to match the existing look. Between coats, the surface is sanded with ever finer sandpaper. Et voila! Take just a second to hit the subscribe button now, because I'm trying to reach 100 subscribers, and just a simple click from you actually makes a huge difference. Thank you.